Every action you take rewires your brain. The coffee you drink, the phone you check, even the way you tie your shoes. Your brain is turning them into habits that can shape or destroy your life. But how does this invisible loop control you without you even knowing? It was 6:45 in the morning at Denver International Airport. I was tired, my shoulders were heavy from carrying a backpack, and I had a boarding pass for a flight to New York. I didn't even glance around to decide where to go first. My legs just started moving, straight toward Starbucks. I hadn't thought about breakfast. I hadn't thought about water. My brain had already made the decision for me, coffee first. And the crazy part? It felt so natural I didn't even question it. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a choice. This was a habit, a loop my brain had been running for years. As I stood in line, I noticed the people around me. Some wore business suits, some had sweatpants and hoodies. Some looked like they had slept in the airport overnight. But every single one of us had one thing in common: the same half-awake expression, the same phone in hand, and the same goal. That morning, caffeine hit. Nobody was debating whether they should get coffee. They were just doing it. And I realized habits are like that, invisible autopilot programs. Most of us don't even notice we're running them. That night in my hotel, I remembered reading about an MIT study from the late 1990s. Researchers placed lab rats in a maze. The setup was simple. A bell rang, a door opened, and the rat could run down the maze to find a piece of chocolate at the end. At first, the rats explored slowly, sniffing around, hesitating at turns. Their brain activity was high. They were thinking. But after repeating the maze dozens of times, something fascinating happened. The rats sprinted straight to the chocolate, and their brain scans showed less activity. They weren't thinking anymore. The decision-making had been automated. Even more interesting, the dopamine spike, that little hit of pleasure, started happening at the sound of the bell, not when they ate the chocolate. Their brains had linked the cue to the reward so strongly that the routine in between became automatic. From that experiment and many others, scientists mapped out the habit loop. 1. Cue, a trigger that tells your brain to start the behavior. 2. Routine, the behavior itself. 3. Reward, the benefit your brain gets from completing it. Here's the key. Your brain doesn't care if the habit is good or bad. Whether it's brushing your teeth or smoking a cigarette, once the loop forms, your brain runs it the same way. That's why people who quit smoking can relapse years later just by smelling cigarette smoke. The cue pulls the loop back online. That's when I started looking at my own habits. And one stood out immediately: my phone. Every morning my alarm would go off, I'd grab my phone, and before I even got out of bed, I was scrolling through Instagram, emails, or random news headlines. The cue was waking up. The routine was checking my phone. The reward was that little dopamine rush from seeing notifications or messages. I told myself I was just catching up, but some mornings I'd lose 20-30 minutes before I even got dressed. When I realized this was a habit loop, I tried to break it with pure willpower. I promised myself, tomorrow I won't touch my phone until I've eaten breakfast. Day 1, I made it. Day 2, I made it. Day 3. I woke up, reached for my phone without even realizing it, and halfway through scrolling I thought, oh no, I'm doing it again. That's when I understood. Habits are stored in the basal ganglia part of the brain, which operates differently from conscious decision-making. Willpower lives in the prefrontal cortex, and it tires out fast. That's why habits often beat willpower. I heard a neuroscientist explain it like this: Imagine your brain is a city. Every habit you repeat paves a road through that city. The more you repeat it, the smoother and wider that road becomes, until it's like a highway. When your brain needs to travel from point A to point B, it's going to take the fastest, easiest road, the habit highway. You can't demolish the old road entirely, but you can build a new one and make it more appealing. Over time, your brain will take the new path instead. I decided to track my habits for a week. Not just the bad ones, all of them. I wrote down the exact moments I brushed my teeth, grabbed a snack, checked my phone, opened the fridge, or even yawned. I also noted what was happening right before each action. I found patterns I'd never noticed before. Waking up triggered phone use. Sitting down at my desk triggered opening email. Hearing my neighbor's dog bark triggered me making tea. Stress after work triggered mindless snacking. My brain was running dozens of loops every single day. By the end of that week, something shifted in my thinking. I stopped blaming myself for lacking discipline and started seeing habits as systems. If my brain could run bad loops automatically, it could also run good loops automatically. I just needed to build them. That's when I made a decision. Part 2 of my journey would be about reprogramming my brain, one loop at a time. Think about the last time you reached for your phone without thinking. Maybe while waiting in line, maybe while watching TV. You didn't decide to do it. Your brain did. The first step to breaking a habit is not to fight it head-on. It's to notice it. Scientists call this bringing the cue into consciousness. The moment you realize, oh, I'm opening Instagram just because I saw my phone light up, you've already disrupted the loop. Habits are like dominoes. If you remove the first one, the rest can't fall. If your cue is seeing your phone on the table, put it in another room. If your cue for late-night snacking is sitting on the couch, change the location. The brain loves shortcuts, but it can't follow a road that doesn't exist. You can't just delete a habit. The loop is too ingrained. But you can replace the routine. If your brain craves sugar every afternoon, replace candy with fruit. The reward is still sweet, but you've given your brain a healthier script. Over time, the old routine fades because the cue now leads somewhere else. Your surroundings are silent habit builders. Walk into a gym, and you feel like working out. Walk into a bakery, and suddenly you want bread. If you want to change your habits, change your environment. Keep healthy snacks visible, hide junk food. Put your running shoes next to the bed. Make the desired action the easiest one to take. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, calls it the 1% rule. Improve just 1% each day. Do one push-up, read one page, write one sentence. Small actions are easy to repeat, and repetition is the oxygen of habits. Before you know it, one push-up becomes 20, one page becomes a book. Willpower fades. Identity sticks. Instead of saying, I'm trying to quit smoking, say, I'm not a smoker. Instead of, I'm trying to run, say, I'm a runner. Your brain wants to act in ways that match your identity. When you change who you believe you are, habits follow naturally. Not all habits are harmless. Some loops are toxic. Gambling, endless scrolling, junk food binges. They hijack your brain's reward system, flooding it with dopamine until you're hooked. Breaking free takes more than willpower. It often requires support, therapy, or accountability partners who can help you rewrite the loop. Once a week, pause and review your habits. Which ones are serving you? Which ones are draining you? Your brain is plastic. It can adapt at any age, but it needs direction. Without reflection, you're letting the habit loop drive your life without a map. Habits are not chains. They're scripts. And scripts can be rewritten. Every cue, every routine, every reward is a choice waiting to be made. The brain may run on autopilot, but you choose the destination. And the moment you take control of your loops, you stop living by default and start living by design. If you want to master your habits and unlock your true potential, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. Don't miss out on life-changing insights every week.